Hey guys, and welcome to the Hobby Vlog. Okay, so I haven't done one of these in a long time, and I've been thinking about their format and how to present them. A lot of hobby vlogs are, sort of still camera showing the work that you've done and discussing it. And they're cool, and I've done those before. But it's been a while, and I've been thinking about it. So what I think we're going to do moving forward is present these a little bit like I do my In the Hobby chats. So where we actually get to paint something. And I can discuss topics and stuff like that. So maybe more of an informal version. Those In the Hobby chats generally are quite focused. We're talking about a topic, and there's usually a mold that's related to that topic, and we discuss it. But for these, they'll be a little bit more, I guess, more loose and informal. So we'll be painting something. In this case today, it's going to be the Praetors, the Stormcast Eternal ones, and we are going to be talking about a topic. So bodyguard units in AOS and stuff like that. I think these are really cool, and I just want to have a bit of a chat about them while I paint them. So that's that part of it. But then I thought we could also include things like channel updates and news and things like that, and even maybe in the future, if people have questions, that sort of stuff, I can answer them in these vlogs and discuss topics that way as well, so that you get a chance to sort of, I guess, be included in that conversation. So something along those lines, I think, moving forward, that's the sort of thing that we're going to do. But today it's going to be Praetors and I think that's what they're called, aren't they? The bodyguard unit for Stormcast, and just discussing a bit of that while I paint these up in my custom scheme, which I'll leave links in the down there for all of the painting tutorials on that. And if I'm really good, in the top right hand corner now, you'll see the how to paint a Vindictor, and you can go through that process. And obviously at the end I'll leave an overview, and we'll have a look at the final results of these as well. But yeah, apart from that, we're also going to be discussing the fact that it's actually been a year since I've been on YouTube, or pretty much, give or take a couple of weeks by the time this video comes out. I've been on YouTube for a year, which is really cool, right? Like it's been a really nice process, just sharing videos with everyone, and sharing my art and so on as well, and all that sort of thing. It's been cool. So I'm looking forward to the next year and all that. So we'll go into a bit of that, and the future of the channel, that sort of thing. And then obviously by the time this video comes out, my first round of miniatures, 3D printable miniatures, will have been released on my store, Bodyguards, which you can find in the link in the down there. And I will have also released my first painting tutorial for those. So that would have been how to paint Dim, the spell familiar. So that's on the channel now, and if I'm really good, I'll put a link to that in the top right hand corner and in the description. So that's really good. So there's quite a lot of things going on, and we'll have a little bit of a talk about them as I paint these Praetors up, and do a bit of just relaxed painting. It's going to be good. It's going to give the channel a chance to have some other videos, so that models that don't necessarily fit into certain painting tutorials and that sort of thing will get a chance to get some show on the channel, which is nice, which means more videos for you guys. And apart from that, I guess we should get started. Okay, so Praetors. Well, look, I mean, I'll take you back to when I first got into this again, towards the end of 8th edition. So I had a long hiatus, and I got seduced by 8th edition, and what was going on with 40k, and it was really cool. Like I remember walking into the store and just being blown away by everything and how far it had all come. I've been in this hobby since the beginning, since the 80s, and that tells you how old I am. But it was amazing to see like what has happened over all of that time. And so and my first army, Death Guard, I've always loved Nurgle, and I remember looking through that codex and those Death Shroud Terminators, and even before they've become good in 9th edition and so on, I remember looking at those and thinking, yeah, these are going to be really important. And so I remember putting them in my lists before they were sort of super cool, or people were using them a lot. And come 9th edition, they're now really crucial in most Death Guard armies. They're seen a lot, and especially in competitive play and things like that. And so that idea of bodyguard unit, I feel like Stormcast really are quite similar to Death Guard in a lot of respects. There's a lot of comparison there. That they play in a similar style. Their characters are kind of similar. They're sort of buff pieces. They're not like the best at combat, but they can do it. They're very tough. They're sort of a bit of a slog army. They're about the mid board, all that sort of thing. There's a lot of similarities to these two armies, and the way they play, and especially for the characters. And so this bodyguard unit, these Praetors, are sort of, I kind of feel like they're they're sort of in the same way as Death Shroud in 8th edition, or not quite the same, but they're not quite as good, obviously. But I guess a more direct comparison would be if Annihilators with shields and hammers had a bodyguard special rule on them. I kind of feel like they missed the boat on this. I sort of feel like the Praetor unit should have been, or the bodyguard unit should have been that, and then the double-hander hammer guys don't have the bodyguard unit, and they're like the damage dealers. So they could have just not had these models altogether and just used that rule with Annihilators, because I feel like that would have been like a Death Shroud Terminator and would have been really, really cool. So very slow, you have to move slowly, but you get this really great bodyguard unit. So that sort of thing would have been good. But having said that, I still feel like they're sort of like one rule away from being really awesome, and I think that's where those Praetors sit. They're sort of, they do a really great job. You're not really seeing them a huge amount in competitive lists and things like that, because I think they're just one sort of slight rule change away from being a really, really useful unit. And so I'm going to play around with them, because I think that they can be good, especially things like a shooting meta, being able to ignore wounds from your characters and so on is really important. And yes, it's going to slow down some of your faster moving characters, but you can do a lot of deep strike with the Signs of the Storm or whatever. You can drop your guys down, they can come down with the character, that sort of thing, because they've got the Thunderstrike armor on as well. So you've got these options to have them move around a little bit, but yeah, they are going to slow you down. But that's kind of how the army plays, in a sort of slow way, a little bit like the Death Guard, and so that's not that big of a deal. You're going to be wanting to have that character walk onto objective and control it, and having that bodyguard unit there to support it is probably going to be really, really useful. And I can see some nice, at the moment most Stormcast lists seem to be playing in kind of like a slow moving castle kind of idea, and they usually got the long strike raptors and then the fulminators for the counterpunch. So this kind of bodyguard unit probably fits quite well into that. I think it's just the points and the composition at the moment doesn't allow it, but I think moving forward, as people move into dragons and things like that, you are going to see some shifting of units around, and there might end up being a spare 160 odd points or 65 points to put a unit of Praetors in to help in that build. I kind of feel like they have a place somewhere in there. And so, as you'll see moving forward on the channel, as I do the rest of these Stormcast videos, you'll see the composition finally of my 2,000 points I'm going to use. I'm going to muck around with it, because I think that there's something in that. And who knows, when the meta shifts and we get into a new General's Handbook and a new realm or whatever, you might find that it moves towards using units like this, and bodyguard units become more useful. I can see that happening. As I said, I feel like they're only just a very, very short little jump away from being really, really great. They're still awesome now, but there's definitely, just a subtle shift away. It could just be points. If they dropped by, a very small margin, they could become really, really good, right? So there's those kind of things. So I really feel like there's something to look into. If you're into Stormcast, I wouldn't disregard them completely. Maybe not for high-end competitive play, but I think certainly for like casual games and competitive casual games where you're playing competitively, or at least you're using points and you're using the General's Handbook and all those type of things, you're at a club or you're at a shop or so on, I feel like they can be put into lists quite effectively and work quite well. So definitely I would take a look at them if you're playing Stormcast. So, and they're also fun to paint. I mean, these models are pretty cool, right? I like the flowing capes on them. The different elements are really fun, and as you're seeing from my custom scheme, they're so easy. Like you can just bash these out in next to no time if you're using this type of color scheme or approach. Even if you want to mix it up and do different colors, keeping that limited palette, as I've talked about on the channel before, is a great way to get an army done in a relatively short time, and still have those moments where you can slow down and do more high-end paint work, like maybe in the robes here or that sort of thing. You can get a bit more punch out of it. So yeah, pretty cool. So I guess that's where we'll leave the Praetors for now, and we'll move on to, I guess, some of the news. So it's been a year since I've been on YouTube, pretty much, give or take a couple of weeks, and yeah, what an experience. It's been fun. I really, really am very grateful. Thank you all so much for coming along for the ride and watching the videos and commenting and liking them and all that kind of stuff. It's been really lovely to see, and you know, I'm looking forward to more of that in the future. It's going to be great. But yeah, you know, if I'm really good right now, I thought we could like have a look at some of those images of some of the stuff I've painted. So if I figured out how to do this in the editing software, you should be seeing some images pop up now of various models that I've done that I thought were pretty cool. At the end of this video, I'll throw up some overviews of some, maybe a group shot or something like that of some of the stuff that I've done over the year. But it's been quite a lot, and you know, the process has always been about, you know, presenting my hobby and my art together as a collective group of I guess work, and presenting it to you. So, you know, none of these videos are contrived, sort of, not to say that's a bad thing, but sort of made for a YouTube video's sake only, you know, and sort of painting up a model that I really don't have any interest in or anything like that. Every single model that you see and every single piece of art or sculpture, anything that I do, minis, whatever I do, that's all my personal work. You know, these Praetors are part of my list and are something that I actively use, and so I use that approach. So it's been good because it means that I'm actually getting my own personal hobby done. What I find is the trap for this type of thing, when you're getting into sort of, I guess, making your creative pursuit a business or something along those lines, whatever it might be, or making it more public or whatever, you tend to start to make things for that and not really for yourself. So you'll often see bigger YouTubers talk about this, painters and so on, that don't really do much for themselves. Everything that they're painting is only for the video, you know, and that can be a bit of a trap, I think, because you lose some of the passion and the happiness and joy that you get from painting your models, right, for your collection, and they just sit on the shelf because they don't fit into a video format or a particular type of thing that you're doing. And that's a real trap, I think, for this type of content creation. So being aware of that, I've made sure that, you know, I don't make things in that way. I try to keep it, you know, my creative process centric. So just the same way, I guess, coming from an artistic background or point of view, because I make my own sculptures and so on, the Bodyguards thing and all of that, you know, I guess that makes it easier for me to think about this in that way. So the videos are, I guess, a vehicle to present work that I'm already doing, right? And that's the kind of approach. But it's been really fun, you know, like, and I'm hoping to continue to do it, because it's nice to actually speak about these things and discuss your ideas and articulate them correctly so that you can see what you're actually thinking. Because sometimes in your head it's a little bit different to what you actually say, right? And getting those two things to sync up a little bit more wholly is a really nice thing. So yeah, future of the channel, I'm probably going to be upgrading my camera at some point, you know, in the future. So you're probably going to see you know, some better quality footage. I'm looking into that, and possibly even seeing my face, which may be a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But yeah, not for every video, but I've got some ideas for that. But depending on what camera I get and how the setup goes and the editing software and so on, we'll see what happens. But that's potentially something that's going to be happening, some sort of more edited, like, I guess, high-end videos, I don't know, something like that. But they won't be as often as my regular content. But even the regular content will get some improvements as well, camera upgrade and so on. So that's looking really positive. And then obviously, Blight of Gods. So I've begun releasing my printable miniatures, which you can now get from the store. Just click the link in the down there. This week would have seen my showcase video, my tutorial on Dim the Spell Familiar, and those products go live on my site. So there is actually a free one right now that you can download. So Adar is free. That's one of the Spell Familiars. You can go there and just download him and print him out for free. So, and there is also Kurgal as well, which is one of my busts from the Denizens of Catan series. So that's all free. You can just go there and pick up those two miniatures and try them out if you want to, 3D print them and have a go. And then if you like them, there's others that are for purchase on the channel. Sorry, on the store, not the channel. So yeah, that's all going ahead, which is really, really great. So in the future, you're going to see more of those. I've got a whole bunch of sculpts already done that are ready to be you know, basically worked on and then prepared for 3D printing. So that's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to sharing that all with you. I've got some really good ideas to moving forward, and so hopefully that all comes about and I get to share those things with you. And even so I've also got a card game on there, which is at the moment out of stock, but I'm looking to move that forward as well. There's a second deck that's in the works. That's already kind of been completed, but I haven't yeah, I've got to work out how to actually get this out into the world, because it's a little bit tricky at the moment with COVID. So that's a bit of a problem, but there is a card game there, and also a board game as well, which you'll see more of going into next year. But I thought I'd just throw that out there. So there are actually some like pretty cool little things coming for my little brand, and also something for these 3D printable miniatures. So at the moment they're just basically collectibles or just painted models that you can do whatever you want with. But in the future they'll probably have a little game system as well, with potentially, what I'm thinking at the moment, just to go into some shop talk, hopefully you're not too bored of this so far, I'm looking to do some alternate bases for these, because if you look at them, they're all on scenic bases, but have a way to have a gaming base, and then because you've got the 3D printed files, you can just print out another one, and it'll be able to go on either base. So hopefully in the future, once I release that game system, you'll have a way to actually then play games with these miniatures as well as have them on your shelf and so on. So I thought that was really cool. So yeah, that's where we're at with this hobby vlog. I hope you've enjoyed this, discussing these topics and the future of the channel and that sort of thing. I just want to thank you very much for supporting the channel and watching the videos and interacting with me over the year. I do remember who you all are and all of that sort of thing, and it's been really awesome, and I hope that you guys have a great Christmas and a wonderful new year. There'll be no stops on the channel, so I'm a workaholic, so I'm just going to continue making videos. So yeah, look forward to some more of those over your break, if you have a break. But yeah, have a great Christmas and a great new year. And I guess what we'll do now is take a look at these Praetors and see how I've gone, and at the end we'll take a look at some overview photos of some of the work I've done over the year that I haven't already shown, and yeah, and then an overview for these Praetors, and yeah, I guess that'll probably end up the hobby vlog for this one. Alright, let's take a look at these Praetors. Well guys, that's it. The Praetor's done, and a year sort of more or less done on the channel. So let's have a look at these. So yeah, I think they're going to go well, and I wouldn't be surprised if coming into the new year and all the FAQs and all the different changes that these little bodyguard units become pretty useful in Stormcast Eternals. I think that's going to be something in the future, but we'll see. Maybe they won't, but they were definitely fun painting. I enjoyed it. It's a good way to cap off the year, I guess, and I suppose I'll leave you with an image of all the different things that I've painted over the year for the channel. Well, as many as I can fit into the photo, I guess, because there was a fair few things, but yeah, that should be pretty cool. And I'll leave you with an overview image of these little Praetors here for anyone that's interested. But look, thank you very much all for supporting me over the year. Again, have a great Christmas and a happy new year. And I guess I'll see you on the other side into next year. And there's a lot of nice, exciting things coming, as I've just talked about. I've got a lot of plans, so hopefully that all goes together. But hope you've all enjoyed this. Please hit that like button, subscribe button. It really helps me out. And I guess I'll catch you on the next one.